I get in trouble every time I try to play a little music for you guys. Um, let me switch hats here. Let me switch off just to show you a little bit of a little bit of love and respect. Um, Man, I guess we'll wait a minute or two, see if anybody shows up. And if nobody shows up, I'm gonna go eat some of that delight. Try to teach people stuff how to run your trucking company. Tonight's subject is how to run your trucking company. That's kind of arrogant, isn't it? I mean, don't you think that's kind of assumes a lot on my part? How to run your trucking company? There's a guy, is an old dude on the internet going to tell you all how I think you should run your trucking company. Now, bear in mind that everything I ever say here is my opinion, and that's all it is. It's just me, you know, giving you my opinion and telling you how it is and how I think it is, and so be sure, because I hate where my grilled cheese. I got you grilled cheese. Oh, I got you grilled cheese. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, everything I say on here is my opinion. That's all it is. It's all it is. You're more than welcome to double check me and go look around at other opinions and all that. And I think you should. I think you should. I think knowledge is power. I think everybody should get as many opinions as they can about everything. Because to me, on the internet, no information at all is worse than bad information. I want my rights, bacon. You can have all the bacon you want. You just can't get it from me. That's all. That's the only thing. Mike Castile, what's here? I'm here, Mike. Circle back. I'm always willing to learn new things. There's Michelle. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Mike, the minute we stop learning about everything in this business, that's when we quit. Go do something else. Open up a grilled cheese food truck, which is going to be my next great thing. Something else. The minute we think we know it all, the minute we think we get it all figured out, what's up, brother? Then it's time to quit and move on and go do something else. There's so much learning. When I first started, there was no power steering. There was no internet in there was no apps. We didn't have any apps, for anything. There was no broker boards. There was no DAT. There was no truck stop. There was no 123, whatever app you're using these days. There was none of that. And you actually had to know people. You actually had to know things about your equipment, about your truck. And if you didn't, you weren't going to make it. You weren't going to make it. And have you thought about opening a dog walking service? I can't. I can't do that because a lady in my neighborhood's retired and she does it and she's really, really good at it. Now I walk my dog, and that's the best workout a man could ever get is walking my dog. Because I'm here to tell you, he will drag your ass up and down the street. He is a curious son of a bitch. So we're going to talk about that. Before I get into it though tonight, I want you guys to look at the little note here below me. That is the GoFundMe page for Joe Denny. And I don't have any very recent news. I talked to Van earlier, and Van Brown at Bullsnot, and he said that Joe got off of the ventilator yesterday. That's a huge, huge, huge thing because Van was he and I talked about that, and the one thing they want you to do is get off that ventilator because your brain learns how not to breathe the longer you stay on it, and it's very dangerous. And I had other people that I've had experience with on ventilators, and the one thing they want you to do to survive and to start healing and to start growing is get off that ventilator and breathe on your own. So he is doing that. That's a huge thing. I just can't. I'm obviously not a doctor by any means, but having been through that before with some other people and some close people and relatives, I can tell you that is a major thing to get off that ventilator. He's got some broken bones. He's got some other things going on, and man, compared to not being able to breathe, um, those things are minor. I hate to make it sound like they're nothing, but they're not. But breathing on your own is a big, big deal. When I first saw the first pictures of Joe and he was on that ventilator, it really scared me. He's off it. He's breathing on his own. That's a big, big, big step. And anybody that's so inclined, please send Joe your prayers and your thoughts and good wishes, because he's going to need it. He's going to need it to get back, to being Joe. And that's all we want. We want Joe to be back. And the thing that I will say is, if it was me, if it was you, if it was anybody being on a ventilator sucks, especially once you wake up and you can't breathe. Yeah, exactly. I mean, imagine a fish out of water, God, you don't want to live like that. Anyway, if it was me, if it was you, if it was anybody on this page, hi all. I would just tell you that Joe would be fighting for you. Joe would be the first guy in line to step up and try to help any way he possibly could. And he's a force of nature, and we need him back. We need him back. And anyway, that's his GoFundMe thing. It was set up by his family, not set up by me, not set up by really anybody I know. But that is the link that his family put on their correspondence. And if you can help, they have raised a little money, and they need more. They're going to need help. This is gonna be an ongoing thing for a while, and they're going to need all the help they can get. And the family is down there. They live up in Missouri, and they're down there in Dallas to be with him, and that costs money. That's not free. And so if anybody can help, if anybody can jump in, and even just a little bit, please do that. Please do. And this tonight's little get together, tonight's little show is dedicated to my buddy Joe. And if somebody can hear me that is in the room with Joe, I love you. I wish you were here. We will get you back. We will not let up. We will not let up. Anyway, how to run your trucking company. I could spend hours on each one of the things that I'm going to mention. I could go on for, days on some of these subjects that I want to start with and talk about tonight. And I'm going to try to hit on some things that I think are really, really important about running your trucking company. So I'm talking to people that are owner operators. I'm talking to people that have their own authority. And I will just start out by saying, and I've said this many, many times, and that's the only time tonight I'm going to say this. I've said this 1,000 times, so go back and watch the other videos or some shit like that. I'm not going to say that anymore. I have said this 1,000 times. I think if you're just new to this industry and you're just getting started, I think that everybody should spend an absolute minimum of 2 years in a company truck driving for somebody else. And the reason for that is because you need to learn the ropes. You need to learn how to drive the truck. You need to go through all of the seasons. Run. I thought you said rum. You can do this any way you want to. This is America. Right. Anyway, I think everybody should spend 2 years in a company truck. Go through all the seasons in a truck, minimum of twice. Go all the road conditions, all the different parts of the United States, especially the ones that you want to operate in and you plan to run in once you get your own thing going. But I think you should spend a minimum of 2 years, if for no other reason. And this is a pretty big one if you think about it. If for no other reason than to see whether or not you like it. To see whether or not you like it. A lot of people get into this business and just don't like it. They just don't like it. They don't want to do it. Yeah, I don't like being away from home. I like to sleep with sleep with my other. I like to be with the kids. I like to do this. I like to do that. Some people just plain don't like it. They think they will. They think it's a sightseeing adventure or whatever they get in their mind, to start into this thing. And it turns out not to be that way. So spend 2 years in a company truck, learn the roads, learn the ropes, learn the laws, learn all the regulations and all that stuff, learn how to drive in different conditions and learn how to operate, because driving's not the only thing you'll do. You'll drop and hook trailers, you'll load and unload trailers, you'll, strap loads if you're in an open deck situation, you'll tarp, you'll do all those things. You need to get your hands on that and get your head wrapped around it before you go out and buy a piece of equipment and go into business for yourself. Then once you do that, once you've done that, and you got your feet on the ground, you've saved a little money letting somebody else pay all the bills for that 2 years and pay you to learn. Once you've done that, then lease to someone for a year or two. Then when you buy a truck, that's what I was coming to next. If you're going to buy a truck, number one, before you buy a truck, you decide what kind of equipment you need to do the kind of work that you plan to do. This is critical. That's just critical. Sold a truck about a year and a half ago to a guy up in Baltimore, and he called me on the phone. He saw it on the internet, and it was a Peterbilt, and he always wanted one. Always wanted a big hood Pete. Everybody wants a big hood Pete. Well, not everybody, but this guy did. And he lives in Baltimore, Maryland, and he runs primarily from Baltimore north. What advice would you give to an expiring broker? My advice to an expiring broker would be to tune into my next show when I'm talking about being a broker, and I'll be glad to help you. Not tonight. Trucking has an expensive learning curve. It's not cheap. Why practice on your own shit? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, buy the kind of equipment that you need. You got a lot of decisions to make there. A lot of decisions. I sold this truck to this guy up in Baltimore. He called me on the phone. It was an expensive truck. It was a red Peterbilt and had a 300-inch wheelbase, a big Caterpillar. The guy that I am. The first thing I said to him was, I said, "You live in Baltimore?" Yeah. I said, "You run mostly up north, like, New York, Connecticut, up in there." And I said, "Oh, yeah, that's where I go." I said, "Do you realize this truck has a 300-inch wheelbase?" And he said, "Oh, yeah. Yeah." He said, "That's what I want. That's what I want." And he wanted that style and he wanted that look, and that hard attitude and, stepping and all that stuff. That's a big truck in the snag area. And I said, "Dude," I said, "I would never," I said, "I sell trucks and that's what I do." I said, I sell trucks. And I said, "I will never talk a person out of buying a truck." I said, "And you obviously, where you live, where you're going to run a lot better than I do." I said, "But this is a 300-inch wheelbase." And I said, I've run the East Coast. I've run all up and down through there for years and years and years. And that's a whole lot of truck. That's a whole lot of truck. And, you're going to have trouble getting in and out of a few places up there with that truck. I know, man. That's what I want. That's what he bought the truck. He flew in. I picked him up at the airport. He gave me cash money for the truck. Great customer. Super nice guy. And he walked up, and when he first saw the truck, he got out of the pickup truck and he looked at it and he said, "Damn, you're right. That's a lot of truck." And I said, "That's a lot of truck, dude." I said, "But anyway, it's yours. And, good luck with that." 3 weeks, he called me back and wanted to know what I would charge him to shorten that truck up. So, the answer to that question, by the way, is $7,000. That was 2 years ago. It's more than that now to shorten that truck up, to cut the frame and shorten it up a little bit. Anyway, you got to know what kind of equipment you need, what kind of equipment you want to do the kind of work you're going to do. You got to know that. That's just critical information. And the people that I use for an example all the time, like Deb Dingo and like, uh, Jess Graham and my friends that are on this page all the time, and Mara and people like that, they have the perfect truck to do the work that they want to do. I've seen Deb pull logs. I've seen her pull everything, every kind of trailer there is. She got the right truck to do pretty much whatever she wants to do. Okay, same with Jess, same with Mara. They do that, and you got to get customers because the spot market is not a customer. I'm getting there. Okay, so you have to have the right equipment to do what you want to do. All right, you got to decide if you want an old truck or a new truck. Do you want to mess with all that emission stuff, all that extra stuff hanging on your truck? We worked on a Cascadia up at Ricky's shop the other day. Had 7 computers on it. 7. Had 7 computers on it. When we work on my truck, it has 1. You see what I'm saying? Do with an older truck, do I expect to do a little bit more maintenance and fix this and fix that and fix this and fix that every once in a while? Sure I do. Of course I do. Do I expect it to go down and cost me $20,000 because the emission system went down? No, I don't, because it ain't got one. And it ain't going to have one. So you got to decide those things, okay? Now, you got to have a customer. If you're going to go into business, you have to have a customer. I don't care what kind of business is. I don't care if you go into business making pizzas. I don't care if you go into business making hamburgers, trucking, selling tires, whatever. You've got to have a customer. You're not going to make it. You get on social media, guys, you see it all day, every day. I'm going broke. I'm doing it. And I know instantly that person's trying to make a living off the load board. Those load boards were never designed for that. And they just turned into that because, when spot market's banging and everybody's paying $4 a mile, oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I've never seen that last for more than a year. And then it goes right back to where it was. And there's good brokers and there's bad brokers and there's fraud and there's all this stuff out there. If that's where you want to live your life and that's where you want to depend on those people and those companies to make your living, like I said, it's a free country. Go for it. They are not there for you. They don't care about you. We've been through that about 1,000,000 times. They don't care. They're not there for you. They're there for them. They're there to make a profit, same as you, and they don't care if you do or not. In fact, they'll sit there all day long and roll the dice until somebody calls them up and hauls that shit for nothing. My buddy Trucker G was down in Florida the other day. They had Eddie said he's fighting that battle now. Yeah, I know you are. We talk. Eddie, he was down. Gerald was down there. He saw a load posted on the load board going to Reno, Nevada. You know where that is. And it was posted on the load board, and it was less than $1 a mile for a full truckload. It wasn't a partial. It was a full truckload. Somebody put a load on the load board going clear across the country, 2,800 miles, for less than $1 a mile. So they're not there for you. You have to have a customer. If you need help with that, I'll help you. I know a lot of people that can help you. Find customers, look at customers, how to talk to customers, what to do when you get one. So you've got to be familiar with rates. You've got to be familiar with the regulations. You've got to be familiar with what that customer wants you to do when you pick up their freight, how to load it, how to carry it, how to deliver it, all that stuff. But to go into business for yourself, you have to have a customer. That's why I suggest that if you become an owner-operator first, and somebody already said that, if you become an owner-operator, lease onto a company that's got some good lanes. Because you're going to, number one, they've already got the freight. They've already got customers. They've already got it. They're in business. They already got it. The loads come in, waiting on callbacks on those two. I'll call you tomorrow about that. Oh, okay. They've already got customers, and they will pay. They've got fuel cards. They've got a lot of stuff that you're going to need. Okay. and they pay you every Friday. Every Friday. You don't have to bill a customer and wait 30, 45, 60 days for your money, or try to factor it and then lose half your money to the factoring company. They pay you every Friday. So lease on to somebody that's got good freight, that pulls the kind of freight you want to pull and stays pretty much in the same lanes that you want to stay. Lease on and sit tight. I know a lot of people that don't get their own authority because they realize that once they do, they put on all these extra hats. Once you get your own authority, now all of a sudden you're the sales manager, you're the safety manager, you're the administrative manager. You got to bill the customers and pay all your bills. You got to have all these different things going on. Safety's a big thing. That's a full-time job. Okay. When you go into business for yourself and get your own authority, be prepared to put on all those hats, because you are absolutely going to. There's no question about it. So if you lease onto a company, they've already got a safety department. They've already got billing. They've already got permits. They've already got, all this stuff. Biggest thing being they've got customers that have freight that you can haul and keep you busy and make you money. And the way a lot of these companies are now, some of them offer really good deals. We could, like I said, at the beginning of this thing, I could spend a day or a week talking about each one of these things that I'm hitting on. This one's important. If you get with a carrier and you lease on at, let's say, a 75-25 split, okay, then what you got to ask yourself is, can I replace all of the things that this carrier does for me for 25%? Can I do it? And every lease is different. And I will tell you this: lease to owns that's a joke. I was talking to Jess about that today, and her point is, these people are getting ripped off and they don't even know it. They got new into the business. They drove a company truck for 6 months. They put them in a lease to own truck, and they're just sitting there now treading water and paying the bills. That's all they're doing. They're not making any money. They're never going to. So get the right piece of equipment. Decide if you want old or new. You better have a friend in the maintenance business with a shop. You better know somebody, or you better know your truck and how to do some of that work yourself. I'm not talking about overhauling motors and transmissions. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking the small things, the things that you can do. Replace a belt, maybe replace an alternator. Do the things that pretty much anybody with a $24 set of wrenches from Harbor Freight can do. Learn how to do those things and be willing to do them. Okay. If you don't, most of the major shops here, the dealerships here, are running about $200 an hour for labor. That's hard. Okay. That's tough. That's really tough. What's tougher is when you pull in there with a problem, if you can run when you get pulled in there, if you're still running, and they tell you they can't even look at it for a week. And then when they do look at it, they tell you it's going to be at least a week, maybe two, before we can get it in there and start working on it. That downtime, that's time that you're not making any revenue. All of your fixed expenses keep going. You owe that money. You got to pay that money out. Okay, anyway, whether the truck runs or not, you're going to pay that money. But now your business is being controlled by a service manager in a dealership that wants you to pay $200 an hour labor. So you better make friends with the shop. You better get to know somebody. You better know somebody that can work on your truck and take good care of it and maintain it for you. And then you got to do that thing. That's your business. That's your livelihood. You got to take care of it. If you don't, you won't be around very long. The other thing you have to set up when you decide to become an owner-operator, or you decide to buy your own equipment, the other thing you got to set up is your finances. This is huge. This is a huge, huge thing. And a lot of people are not prepared to do this. They don't give it that much thought. They think, well, I'll go buy a truck and lease it on to, this company over here, and they'll pay me every Friday. And all I got to do once in a while, change oil and drive the truck and make my money. No, the other thing you got to do is pay taxes. The other thing, and you better have somebody that does your tax preparation and files for you, a CPA that knows the trucking business. And if you do, you'll never pay hardly anything at all, if anything at all, you'll never pay anything in taxes because you have these deductions. And you got to have somebody that understands trucking and understands the tax codes in the state you live in and federally, that can do your taxes for you and save you that money. But you got to manage your money. And if you're an owner operator, you better have about 15 grand in the bank at any given time for when that breakdown starts and it hits you. And that's minimum. That's minimum. So those are the things you have to do just to get started. You got to have a customer. Now, I've said it a million times. People want to argue. I don't care. I don't want to argue with people. I don't give a shit. If you think you can make a living on the load board, you're an idiot. You're not going to be here. And your truck's going to be for sale, and you're going to have to go out and get a job because you're not going to make it. The big box brokers, all these big guys, TQL, Robinson, all those people, they made up their mind, I don't know if you noticed or not, about a year and a half ago, that from now on, by God, that people will haul at the rates they put out there or not at all. So if you can get in with smaller brokers, with some integrity and some honesty that value your work and will pay you your rates, then yeah, that's not a bad place to be. Because most of those guys are pretty good salespeople. Most of those guys are good at getting an account and keeping it. Be thinking about that. Make sure that, you have freight to haul. If you lease onto a bigger company that's already got freight, you're a mile ahead of the game. You're miles and miles ahead. Okay. But set yourself up, your administrative part of your business, the money coming in, the money going out. Make sure you set yourself up to manage that correctly, because I can tell you that you don't want to pick a fight with the IRS. You might think you do, but you don't. So be prepared to do that. And then, and this isn't going to be the end of it, I'm going to wrap this up. There's only 4 or 5 people in here. And if you don't give a fuck, I sure don't. It's funny to me. I can get on here and talk about, brokers and being mad at brokers. There'll be 50 people in here. Now I'm talking about things that try to help you make a living, try to help you make money. And there's 4 people. Everybody else go watch videos or something. So anyway, this is the last thing. Be willing to do what you have to do to make a living. If somebody walks in on me and goes, yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, I ain't going to Chicago. You can kiss my ass. I'll throw them out the fucking door. I don't want that person in my building. If you're not prepared to do what it takes to keep a customer happy, you're not going to be in business. And you damn sure can't drive for me. I don't need you. And I don't want you. Okay? Be prepared to do what you need to do to make a living. There's no such thing as a bad load. Hey, what up? There's no such thing as a bad load, only a bad rate. That's how it is. Be prepared to do what you need to do. Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man? Bull snot in the house. Always. I got bull snot everywhere, man. Be prepared to do what you need to do to make a living. Be prepared to say yes. Be flexible. If we're not anything else, as a small trucking company, as an independent trucking company, you're not going to compete with Swift. You're not going to do it. You're not going to compete with those guys. You're never going to do that. And the good news is they don't want you to, because you can make a lot of money doing the shit they can't do or won't do. A lot of money. But be prepared to do that. Be prepared to be flexible. Be prepared to do what you need to do to make your business work. In a nutshell, I could go back on each one of those things: picking your equipment, picking a carrier to work for, picking a carrier to lease to, going on your own, getting established on your own, getting a customer, learning how to work with a customer, which customers to go to, which customers not going to, working weekends. Yeah. I could spend a week talking about the details of each one of those things. But I can't stress this enough, okay? I can't stress this enough. Be prepared to do the things you have to do to be in business and to stay in business. And if you're not, I talked to a guy the other day, good guy, just really good guy. And he's got his little thing on YouTube and all that stuff. And he goes, yeah, well, some of the shit you're talking about, I ain't doing it. I ain't going to do it. Okay, fine, good for you. But know this broker transparency thing won't do you any good because you're not going to haul the freight anyway. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Okay, that's not going to help you. Anything I tell you, if you've got that attitude, yeah, I ain't going up there. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I ain't going up there. Okay, well then don't go. More for me. I like it. I like it. Be prepared to make decisions and be prepared to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, that maybe you don't like, or they're not fun, and they don't make you as happy as you should be. But know this: if you're not prepared to do that, then you probably really shouldn't go in this business. Anyway, that's how to run your trucking company. Please do this for me. If you don't do anything else, there's only 4 or 5 people here, and I'm not going to sit and talk to 4 or 5 people, because I probably know all of you. Be prepared to do what you need to do. Please help Joe Denny. You see that link right there? Right there on my page. Please help him. He's a good man. My people, what's going on, man? Please help Joe. Even if it's just, I know the holidays are coming. I know things are tight. I get it. I understand it. Please help Joe just a little bit. And just know this, because I know Joe, he's my friend. Know this. If the situation were reversed and you needed help, Joe Denny would stand on a street corner to help you. So please help him if you can. Every little bit helps. Please share the video around if you can, so that other people can get that link right there, and just maybe help him a little bit. Thanks for the fuel surcharge help this morning. Oh man, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Anyway, we'll get back together and talk next Tuesday. Maybe we can find something that people like or they're more interested in. What do you think? If not, shit, who knows? I've been working on learning how to play the harmonica. Maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe I'll just sit here and play the harp for 30 minutes or an hour or 2. Everybody have a great week. Take good care of each other. Help my friend Joe Denny, because you never know when it's going to be your turn. Joe was doing everything right when that car came across the lane and hit him. He was doing everything he was supposed to do. It was not Joe. The other people have been charged. It could happen anytime, so please help him out. Please be careful, and please look after each other. We are what we've got. There's no great cavalry hanging around over the hill waiting to swoop down and save us. It's just us. So, thank you guys. Appreciate you stopping by. As is always the case, if I can help, let me know. We'll be here. Give me a call.